Assalamu alaikum. What's up, everyone? So today in this video, we're going to be talking about how does Allah or God test us? Obviously, in this life, as a Muslim or as a religious person, you believe that life is merely but a test, right? This life is merely however long you live, and then there's an afterlife. So in this life, it is supposed to be pleasurable all the time. Why are there trials and tribulations? What's the reason behind all these trials and these problems that we see in life? Everyone knows the simple quote and the simple saying of God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. And one of my favorite verses in the Quran has a very similar style where it says, if you call yourself a believer and you don't think you're going to be tested. So it's God's basically talking to us saying, if you call yourself a believer, you say, yes, I believe in God, I believe in the message. What? So you don't think you're going to be tested? That's when you start getting tested more. Because for example, say you don't believe anything, right? You're not even showing up to the school. Why would I give you the test? So it's the same concept, the same mentality. A good example of this is, say I'm attending a school, but you don't attend the school right now. When I go into school today, I'm going to have a test, but you're not going to the same school I'm going to. So you're not going to get the same test I get that day because I'm going to the school. So it's the same thing with faith. So that when you believe, you're going to get tested. So that's kind of how it works, where you choose this life, then yeah, it's fine. Choose this life. But you have to remember that life is merely but a test because all of us go through it. We all go through trials and tribulations. And at the end of the day, any test or any struggle you go through in life only makes you stronger. These are ways for you to spiritually grow, to mentally grow, to emotionally grow. And when you go through those struggles in life, at the time, it's so hard. And we all feel this. We're all like, dang, like, how am I going to get through this? I'm down bad. But you end up getting through it. And you look a year later, you're like, wow, I really beat that hurdle. I got over that bump, that stress, that anxiety. And you got through it. And that's the part. It's like when you worship God, you worship the truth. You worship the feeling of God will handle it. You just have to stay steadfast in your journey. That's the most important thing. And staying steadfast is the hard part. Yeah, it's going to suck. Some things aren't going to go your way. Things are going to be always in your face. It's always going to be anxiety. It's always going to be a struggle. But you have to understand that with each even prick of a thorn on your finger, it's expiation for sins. You will get better and better with the struggle. So understand that no matter any high level stress, low level stress, even if it seems silly, it's going to make you a better person overall. So one of the main things is trials and hardships. And in Arabic, it's called fitna, right? And this fitna is things like financial woes, health struggles, family conflicts. And all of these teach us sabr, which means patience. And these are all tests from God, right? And patience is a virtue. We all know this, right? Culturally. And to have patience and sabr is so important because you have to be able to stay steadfast. You have to be able to push through the pain. And when you're able to push through the pain, you will be rewarded. And something within the Quran that says this is, again, is fair. And something within the Quran that says this is, again, and something that says within the Quran is, for indeed, with hardship comes ease. So grind, ease. That's the simplest way to explain. Another form is when you go through loss or grief. And obviously nowadays, people lose people die. But you have to be able to get through that struggle and understand that that's tough. It's hard. It's pain. But there's another form of practicing yourself as a Muslim. Practice yourself as a spiritual person and a spiritual being. We have to understand that you have to be able to push through that pain. You have to be able to look at the positives, to understand, to keep that positive mindset. And it is hard. But again, with that pain comes ease. And another form is dealing with loss or grief. And we all go through grief. We all go through things where we have loss. We all lose people. But it's a matter of, can you stay consistent with who you are as a person? Can you make sure you stay patient through that loss and understand that you'll look back to a year later, 2 years later, and think, wow, I got over that hurdle. How did I do that? And it was through God. And that's kind of the main conversation you have to have with yourself and to have with God. I'm sure we all can relate to is dealing with the stress of money, right? Money runs this world, right? We feel like money this, money that. You need money to survive. You need money to pay the bills. You need money for this, money for that. And it gets stressful. It's such a high stress thing where it's supporting your family, supporting yourself, getting out of the rat race, getting out of this struggle of always waiting until the next check comes to pay the next bill that always is nonstop coming. And again, when you rely on God, God will result you in getting that thing paid every time. And it sounds silly to say like God's not going to pay your bills. But at the end of the day, when you stay steadfast, you do the right thing, you work hard and believe in God and focus on the spiritual journey with you and yourself to become the best version of yourself, it all ends up working out. And again, it sounds crazy when you think of it sometimes, like, oh my God, I've been struggling for so long. Like, when's it my turn? As the longer you stay steadfast, the longer you stay focused on getting it done, the more reward there really is. And the word in Arabic, that khir, literally means there's khir in delay, which means that there's good in the delay, which means that the more you wait, the more you're patient for something, the more blessing it's going to have, the more barakah there's going to be in it. Even dealing with ethical dilemmas is a way God tests us. So for example, living in the West, there's these interest-based loans, interest-based mortgages. Oh, why are you renting out a house when you can just get a mortgage and pay less? But you say, hey, the mortgage is haram, I don't want to collect interest or anything. Wait, your bank gives you 2% interest every month. Why don't you collect it? Why'd you tell them you don't want it? Because again, it's a test. You're being tested. I don't want to collect the interest, so I don't want it. But people will look at you and be like, oh, you're crazy. You're missing out on money every month. But it's not about the money, but it's about your morals and values. And making sure that you're staying consistent to those morals and values. Another way God tests us is through our family, through our relationships. And it tests our character. Are you going to be the person who loses their temper all the time? Are you going to yell at everyone you see? Are you going to treat the waiter with disrespect if they mess up your order? Are you going to treat the person who cut you off disrespectfully? Things happen in life. And all these little things that happen are a test of your character, your patience, your values. And again, this is another way Allah will test us. Another way we get tested is through temptation. Temptation is out there everywhere. You are going to be tempted to do everything and anything in this world. There's always going to be something fun and easy to do, right? In the short term. But long term, there's consequences. Yeah, it's easy to go drinking, smoking, partying, having fun, thinking you're having a good time. But over time, what's really happening? You're losing yourself. You're losing your sense of being. You're losing your soul. Because again, you're draining yourself of your natural energy. When you drink alcohol, why do people get hangovers the next day? You're literally injecting poison into your body. When you're smoking marijuana, you're getting lazy. When you smoke cigarettes, you're putting tar in your lungs. You're damaging your body. So again, these are all temptations where in the moment they feel great. But in the long run, hindsight 2020, it ain't that great. And these are things that you have to get away from with temptation. And even when it comes to something like premarital sex, right? Obviously, the temptation of beautiful women, or if you're a girl, there's beautiful guys out there that want your attention. But at the end of the day, that temptation of premarital sex, what it's saving you from is committing to someone that you shouldn't be with anyways. That sexual energy bonds people together. And it's easy to get hooked to that. And anyone who's been in a relationship and broke up and everything like that, sometimes what you're missing is that connection, right? And people get hooked and trapped because of that connection. So when you save yourself from that temptation, it's not because God doesn't want you to have fun. No, but it's about you pushing through that and not succumbing to the temptation. Also, another way we get tested is through like the adversity and having faith and believing. Sometimes me personally as a born Muslim, yeah, you pray every day. Okay, congratulations. It's awesome. It's great. But even sometimes in your prayers, you're like, I've been praying for years and years and years, not missing one. Oh, that's great. But how many of those prayers you're so 100% locked in, focused? And again, you test in your faith. You're not going to be the most religious, amazing, perfect person 10 times out of 10 all the time, every single day. It's impossible. So understand that you're going to have ups and downs and roller coasters of emotions within your faith. But again, it's staying steadfast, staying true to your beliefs and morals. Something in Arabic that I really love also is having amana, responsibility, where you have this character, these morals, these guidelines that you follow, being a man of your word, doing the right thing, and doing the right thing when no one is watching. Now that is a really special part. For example, you're walking down the street and you see trash on the floor, but there's a garbage can 2 feet away. You pick it up and put it away. You're not asking for a handout. You're not asking for a round of applause. No. You just know that it's the right thing to do. And this is another way that God tests us. So overall, all in all, God will test us in many ways. But the main thing is that you ask God for forgiveness, right? And to ask God for forgiveness is to show the believer. Why? Because when you're asking God for forgiveness, you understand you're imperfect. You're not going to go to heaven based on just your good deeds. No. But it's the ability to understand that you have been wrong, that you apologize, that you ask Allah for forgiveness. And again, this helps cleanse you of your sins. And again, these acts of worship is what makes you a better human being, a better person. And again, this is why God tests us for those moments. And if you're struggling with deen, if you're struggling with learning about spirituality even, and like connecting, understand that it's a long journey, right? As long as you're on that journey of becoming more religious, fixing one thing at a time, being a little more whole, being a little more complete, understand that that's all you can do. Every day, do one thing you think you can do better and just focus on one thing and watch day by day. You increase your habits and you increase in your barakah and you increase in your worship. I want to know what you guys think. Did I miss anything that you guys want to add? And do you guys have any stories that kind of showed you that, wow, Allah tests us in some crazy ways and where later down the line, I'm like, I'm so glad I got tested that way because it made me a person strong enough to deal with this thing that happened in my life. I'd love to hear you guys' stories. So again, be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave some ideas down below in the comments. Thank you guys again for supporting. I appreciate it. See you next week.